What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the New Breed Podcast, the world's best quasi-new metal adjacent podcast from two dudes who are really there. I'm one half of your hosting duo, Jay Horsecow. With me, I have my partner in crime, the notorious Tim Anderson Jr., wearing one of my t-shirts that came in one of my gift bags. Tim, how's it going?
Good. Yeah, shirt fits great.
Yeah, I rehome all of my old merch to Tim. When my dresser gets filled up, I just take 2 drawers worth. It goes in a bag, and Tim gets all the leftovers. So, who do we have this week, folks? So this week we have a band from straight across the pond. We have James from the band Starve. James, thank you so much for joining us.
Going on, guys. Thank you so much for having me on this.
We are stoked to have you. So I will be honest with you, James. So Tim and I do reaction videos every Friday. We watch
Okay, cool.
we put out a video where we watch somebody else's videos, we pause it, we comment on it, and typically when we do these, we may or may not be inebriated because we'll do a whole bunch in a row. So we'll be
Cool.
drinking as we go. And we did yours, and we were, we loved it. It was, I think, Tim, I actually think we did theirs early in the night, didn't we? Before we were bombed.
We did, yeah.
But I just started to everybody we did. I'm like, I should reach out to them and see if they want to come on the show. So I started pinging away. I got to be honest, James, I was really impressed. You guys got back so fast. I was like,
we're pretty on it when it comes to the like the DMs. Like we don't get like a whole bunch of them. And like the second that one comes through, especially when it comes like from an opportunity like this, we're straight on it. Like we love any form of like interaction like that. We love being able to just speak to people about the things that we're doing. And like me personally, like I just love chatting to people. So anytime I get a chance like this, I'm just like, yeah, absolutely. Like I'm more than game to do that. So I appreciate, I guess I really do appreciate you guys reaching out and having us on this.
Yeah, more bands should be like you because I feel like you said, it's an opportunity to get your music out there, get your projects out there, and I think a lot of people just take that shit for granted. So
Also, like I can see what you mean, especially when like as bands get bigger, sorry, and things like that. You do see it quite a bit where like a bunch of bands like they forget to stay humble with regards to where they came from and where they started, and they're just like, oh, we're too big to be on this, or like, we're too big to be doing this kind of thing, or take some time out of my day to sit down and chat to people. It's a really strange mentality to me.
yeah, dude, and you
yeah.
nailed it, man. You absolutely nailed it. Especially with bands from the States, man. They're just like, oh, we have 10,000 followers. We don't need you. It's like, all right, buddy.
The example you give all the time, Tim, is Kid Chris, the DJ, right? So
Yeah.
he's a radio personality here, James. He's a
Mhm.
DJ. He's got national syndication. I won't say he's like Howard Stern, but he's not a shock jock, but he's one of those funny guys on the radio.
Yeah.
And he will get on anybody's show and talk.
Yeah.
And he's said on his own show that, look, I don't like doing 8,000 different interviews with 8,000 different podcasts or radio shows. But he follows that statement up with, but I was in that chair once and I know what it's like struggling trying to get your stuff out there. So I
Yeah,
can't fault anybody who's got who reaches out. Like, I'll give you some of my time.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
Yeah, of course.
that's appreciative. It really is.
definitely.
So, James, let me start off with the question of, how would you describe your band to somebody who hasn't heard you yet?
So I find the best comparison for us is just imagine like a sort of like like a heavier Enter Shikari, I guess, or like heavier Pendulum Prodigy sort of stuff is the kind of sort of direction that we go in. Or like most recently, I'd just say just imagine like drum and bass, but with like like some type of vocals over it, and like like heavy instrumental. That's like the best way because we're very heavily drum bass influenced. It plays a lot more into the live show than it does into the tracks. But we are continuously doing everything we can to sort of like bring that more into the music that we're making and putting out there.
Yeah,
I Go on, Tim.
yeah. I listened to everything you guys had up today on Apple Music, and I was like,
That's it. Thank you, man.
the progression from the first song to what the song that we reacted to. I'm forgetting the name of that
It happened
song.
near your home.
There you
Yeah, I
go.
was gonna ask which song it was that you guys did the reaction to.
Yeah, we did that one. But yeah, the progression, man, it's you could see it's getting heavier and heavier and more brutal. And I'm like, yeah, I like that. So, but I will say this. So I've been saying this forever, man. Whatever is going on over in the UK, it's absolutely nuts, because the bands coming out of there
Yep.
are just ridiculous these days, man.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
wild.
I mean, Tim and I have had this conversation numerous times. Loathe, Static Dress,
Yeah.
you guys, Graphic Nature,
Mm.
Sleep Token, right? Like
Yeah.
there's so many
Yeah.
great bands coming out of the UK, and when we talked to Harvey, we talked about, what's it like trying to come over to the States, and those of us that are in the United States, that haven't been to Europe, that haven't traveled, you don't realize how big this country actually is, and
Oh yeah,
how
100%.
expensive it is to do a full tour, like to get it from one side to the other.
Yeah.
People don't realize how big we actually are.
Yeah.
Like for plane tickets alone, even if you fly from like London one way, you're talking like on a base price of like between 400 to 500. That's not including gear. That's not including like extra baggage and shit like that. So for like a full band, I know. So I'm friends with this one band called James and the Cold Gun, and I know they had to do. I know they were in the midst of doing a fundraiser last year, I believe. I think that the grand total of it. I mean, I could don't like fully quote me on this. But I feel like the grand total was around like the 60K mark for everything for them to go over for like a month.
Wow.
Jesus, that's a, oh my God, that's a
That was
decent mobile
that's for
home.
like that's the full band, covering everything when they were over there, like the travel and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure they went to record when they were there as well. But it's not fucking cheap for us
No,
to get over there.
Is
No, like nor is it cheap for us the two when we're over there as well.
is that 60K in pounds or dollars?
60K in pounds.
God, so that's even more.
yeah, it's even
Yeah.
more. I mean, you're looking at like 70, 75, 80, right? And depending upon exchange rate, a dollar 80K US. It's and you know what I always think about? I think about the bands that came out and hit the road hard right after the lockdowns ended, when
Mm.
gas was like 4.50, $5 a gallon. Like I don't know how they did it. Like I really don't know how they did it. Like, in James, to put that in context, I don't know how any of you guys do that, right? Like, and if you're
Well,
going to come over, you got to come over for an extended amount of time, I would
mm.
assume, just to try and make it worthwhile.
No, absolutely. Like we have friends over there in the States. Like me personally, I'm friends with this band called Gut Fauna, are based in Texas. The guy that I'm friends with from the band specifically is a guy called Izzy. He's in both Gut Fauna and this band called Cable. Um, and we constantly chat all the time about like, right, okay, what's the easiest or cheapest way to get like one of us over there, whether you come over there or we we come to you. Uh, and we talk about like gear share and things like that, and ways that we could try and make it cheaper for one another, which in a way is like really, really nice to be able to have those sort of connections with people and have those sort of friendships. But I mean, even then, like taking those things out of the equation, it's still so expensive to just come over, even if it's for like 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah. Or unless you're getting paid to do a one-off at a fest, usually
Yeah,
the organizer pays for, but even still, I mean,
I think
that's
a
got to
That's
be
one-off for a
crazy.
fest, we'd have to get fucking. I don't even know. I'd feel rude asking for what would actually be reasonable
reasonable, right?
to
Because you're
just
looking
the
at a
fact that us to
grand
come
in
over. Yeah,
a grand alone, 5 members, a grand in just airfare,
yeah.
right? Then you got visas.
Hmm.
Then you've got, if you got to get the gear over, like even if you're sharing a back line, right? There's still guitars, there's the bass. I mean, I, I can't even imagine. Which makes me think about like some of those American festivals so like Psycho Las Vegas, which sadly hasn't happened in the last 2 years. They flew in Amenra, they flew in Mayhem, they flew in a bunch of bands, and it's like, no wonder why that festival didn't come back, because I don't know if
Mm.
they actually made their money back with all that, all those people coming in.
We've got
Oof.
those two that are kicking about at the minute. Sick New World and When We Were Young. And
Mm-hmm.
there
Mm-hmm.
again, there again, just like I don't understand like the money that must need to go behind all of that to actually make something like that work. Like I've been putting on shows myself for the best part of 10 years now, and I'm doing my first festival next month. Um, and even then, like looking at show costs and things like that, I have no idea like how that sort of money comes together to book like the likes of the bands that they do. It's insane, especially when it comes to like exclusives and flying bands over.
Yeah, I think it I mean, I don't know personally, but to me it seems like it relies on they're taking a chance of tickets selling so
Yeah,
they can pay this
100%.
back.
Right. And I'm sure they find some deep pocket sponsors to offset.
Oh
But
yeah,
even
Oh,
still,
yeah,
hundred
yeah.
like
percent.
like like Sick New World, they're closing off a chunk of Vegas.
Yeah.
Like they closed up a chunk of Vegas. You got 5 stages this year. The sound system, security, food and beverage.
Mhm.
I don't not that I would want to see like, hey, how much money did you make? Because I don't care about the profit. I just would love to know what the gross needs to be
Yeah,
for
100%.
that to actually get it out the door.
Because they've got like bands like the bands that you mentioned, for example, like Static Dress, they're over at the minute. They're about to play a sold out headliner in what fucking Anaheim? What's the super well known
Chain,
venue there? Chain Reaction,
chain
yeah,
reaction. Yeah.
yeah, I couldn't think of the word there. Yeah, they're about to play a sold out show in Chain Reaction and then playing the festival. Loathe are coming over, but I'm pretty sure they're just doing the festival. I don't think they're doing any dates surrounding it. Um, and again, like just getting those bands over to do those things, like you get bands like Static Dress who are just like, I feel like that's doing, making the most of the time over there. Like if you're gonna go over, you may as well play like more than just the one show.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that makes total sense, right? Hey, we're going to be here for the festival. We might as well do a little bit of touring around it. I mean,
Mhm.
the one band that I think I have seen do it smartly was the Japanese hardcore band Cruelty. They
Oh
flew
yeah.
into they flew into California. They did Sound and Fury. They
Mhm.
did a whole tour across the United States. They
Yeah.
finished up in Philly, and then they flew back home. So like that made sense. But even still, like I can't imagine. Like I
Yeah, they're an
really can't.
incredible band as well. Booked Cruelty in April last year to play Newcastle, and they were fucking insane live. Those
Heavy.
guys in Gates to Hell from your guys
Yep.
side,
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
insane bands. They were really really cool.
So heavy,
Yeah,
so heavy. Like
100%.
Is that
it's
it?
the go on.
Is that where you're located? You say Newcastle?
Yeah, Newcastle. So I was born in Nottingham, but I grew up in Newcastle,
Oh, okay.
Okay,
and
okay.
I've been putting on shows here for the best part of 10 years now. I would say started when I was 16, and I'm 26 now.
Have you ever booked Renounced?
No, but I've tried many a time.
God
Every
damn,
single time
fucking love
they've
that band.
had something on which has clashed with like when I've looked to try and like book them.
Yeah, great fucking band though, man.
Yeah, no, they're insane. I'm
Another
sorry.
great UK band. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ, man.
I saw them at Outbreak in 22, and they were incredible live. They
Oh,
don't do too
that
much now
fest's
though.
great.
They're doing that Misery Signals final like farewell tour. I think that's the first
Oh
thing
yeah.
in the last 8 years.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're doing the UK leg. Yep.
Yeah,
Good for them.
Tim and I are
that's
still
that's really
sore.
exciting.
They're not Misery Signals is not coming near Philly. We're kind of heard about that one.
Yeah, I can imagine so.
Yeah, that one show they did at This Is Hardcore was amazing. So James, let's talk about him. So let's talk a little bit about more about the band, right? So like
Yeah,
Tim said, I did the same thing. I started with the first singles and I worked my way forwards, and the sound gets cohesive, right? More cohesive. It gets heavier.
mhm.
The guest spot from Harvey just it kills it.
Yeah.
So what's next for you guys? Are you gonna start playing out a bit? Festival dates, recording? What's going on?
So when's this one due out? Is this due out next Wednesday?
No,
Tim,
just like a
no,
month out.
we're about a month out, I think.
Oh, okay. Oh, fair enough. Okay, so by the time that this one comes out, um, the next single will be dropped, which is coming out next Wednesday, um, which is a single called Exhales. It is more towards the lines of Grain, so it takes us back to the like the drum and bass influence sort of stuff. And it's one that we've really pushed the boat out with. Very heavily pendulum influenced. Um, and performed it live for the first time at Steppers Club, which is like our like headliner event that we do in Newcastle, which has become like an annual thing now. And people seem to really enjoy it then. Anyone who I've briefly shown it to has said that it is like kind of like sort of expected of us now, but also at the same time, like with how much of a jump up it is from what Graham was, I'm like, yeah, it's really, really cool. And the video is I'll send the video after so you guys can watch it yourselves, but it's pretty fucking interesting and pretty cool.
Awesome.
After that is we've got one more single to put out after that, which is currently recorded. Um, and I think just during the process of getting the video done for that, it'll just be nailing down the next lot of singles and getting those out. towards the end of this year. We're trying to be a lot more active on the actual releasing front because we took a bit of a break and focused a lot more on the live side of things, which was cool. And played a load of cool shows. But because of that, we slacked a lot in like the releasing department. Hence why it was like a 2 year gap between Sunday Cliche and the Happy New Year Home. Following that, we have a couple of like friends that we're talking to at the minute in terms of like touring towards at the back end of this year. But there's nothing set in stone as of currently.
So I love the fact. I'm sorry, Tim. You mind if I?
No, yeah, go ahead.
No,
Yeah,
sure.
I love the fact that you guys pull in like the drum and bass and the electronic stuff. And you know, this show is ostensibly a new metal podcast, even though we get way off the reservation. But one of the things that Tim and I always talked about the first generation of new metal is nothing was off limits. You could go and do whatever you wanted to and pull all sorts of weird influences in, and it just worked. And stuff like that, stuff like Live Conform Die from Australia.
I
And
fucking love that band
oh,
so
it's
much.
so good. Evil Gloom from Japan. And
Okay.
even but you look at what Knock Loose, they just released the single with Poppy. You have Candy
I
just
haven't
released
listened to it
that new abrasive song. Like we're seeing more of that that willingness of bands to kind of say, fuck it, we're gonna go for it.
yet.
Let's see how the fans like it, but we're gonna go for it and do something kind of new. And I am, as a music fan, not just a heavy or extreme or new metal fan, as a music fan, I find that so fascinating because do your thing.
No, 100%. I mean, the first single that Knock Loose put out of these recent ones called me like every time Knock Loose releases something, it just catch me off guard because I don't understand how they get heavier than what they have already previously been. It doesn't make sense. It's incredible, and I love every aspect of it, but it doesn't make sense to me how they, for example, when they put out A Tear in the Fabric of Life, I was like, this is so much fucking heavier than a different shade of
A
blue.
different shade of blue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
was just like, how have they done that? And then they put out those two singles, Deep in the Willow and the other one that was on that. I was like, okay, fine. This is also still somehow heavier now than The Tear in the Fabric of Life. And then the first single that they put out from this upcoming album, and I was just like, it doesn't make sense. How have they done it again? How have they done it again?
I keep waiting for them to get, and Tim and I have had this conversation. I keep waiting for them to get less abrasive, more palatable to a bigger audience, right?
Yeah.
And yet they keep going back down the rabbit hole. When Tim and I both love Vane, right? When Vane came out with that second album, we thought it was going to be more new metal, and they were like, "No, we're going down. You're taking a ride with us." These bands continuously get heavier and harder, and yet they keep growing in popularity. Like, I think that's really cool.
It's insane to see.
Yeah,
I think they've just done the cover story of Kerrang, and they said pretty much what you've just said, where they were like, "Oh, we're not gonna conform to just we get to a certain size and we're gonna change up the sound to become a bit easier to listen to and things like that. We're only just gonna get heavier."
Yeah, because
So
they
I
don't. Yeah, they don't need to conform because they already have the built-in crowd. So why do something to? Because that could possibly fuck them up in a certain way. You know what I mean?
Career suicide with an album if they decided to start doing pop song.
Yeah, it could make fans go, "What the fuck is this, man?" It's kind of like if Cannibal Corpse put out a pop punk record. You know what I mean? They'd be like, "What?"
Might be kind of cool, like watching Corpse Grinder try and skank across a stage. But yeah, I think it would, and that Knock Loose tour, right? I mean, it's Knock Loose, Show Me the Body, who I'm not a fan of. The openers are Loathe and Speed from Australia, and almost every date they keep flashing either low ticket warnings or selling out.
The majority
it's going to be huge.
Sold out instantaneously.
Yeah,
it was insane. It's really cool for Loathe to be on that. So like Loathe, I've been friends with for when did I even meet them? Like around about 2016, 2017. When they were just kind of like starting up. Like those guys have stayed on my floor before. I've put them on in 100 cap rooms, 180 cap rooms, and then now like they are the size that they're at, and it's just insane to see the growth that band have had. one of like the most like humble bonds, I would say. Like every time I'm at the same show is like whether like we're playing with them, or I've just went to go see them, like I'll always try and catch up with Kadeem. Um, and yeah, they're just some of the nicest guys and always have been.
Uh,
Speaking of loathe,
Mhm.
th- there is a song you guys did in like 2018, 19, I think it was. Was one of the loathe guys on one of them songs?
So that was under the old name, and that was with Connor, who is their old guitarist. Connor and ourselves worked together very closely for the first set of releases under the old name, which was Starve to Survive.
Oh, okay.
And he also helped with regards to Becoming Dirt and Flat Drop. He's also a very good friend. He's done two tattoos on me as well. Um,
Oh, okay.
he's a super sound guy, and we wouldn't have. I don't think we would have projected as much as what we did with the earlier stuff if it wasn't for the assistance of Connor.
Who who's the guy you had on the one song? Harry, is it Harry Rule?
Oh, Harry from God Complex.
Oh, that's where he's from. Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I
yeah.
was getting him mixed up.
Harry's
Okay.
fucking an insanely talented vocalist. He did that all in one take as well. Like
Oh,
he just
wow.
yeah. So he recorded that with Connor, and apparently just like rocked it and was just like did the lines and then yeah, okay, we're done. Like that's all we need to take. He's an absolute animal as a vocalist.
You know, before I forget, I don't know why this came to my head, but I wanted to ask you since you're from over there. What is up with Blood Youth? Are they still a band? What's going on with them? I'm sure you know who that is.
I've put them on before. So Harry joined Bluetooth for a bit.
Oh, did it? Okay.
They split up maybe like within like the past year or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not to
They just
change the subject. I just didn't want to forget to ask you.
no, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, no, they split up some time ago now.
Mm.
I'm always glad to see bands that play a unique style, play their own thing, start to get recognition, start to get big, right? Like Load, Sleep Token, right? Knock Loose,
Mhm.
right? I was telling Tim I was at the Decibel Metal and Beer Festival, and
Okay.
the two bands that got the biggest response of that whole weekend, Lamp of Murmur, which is
Mhm.
just that atrocious black metal stuff, and 200 Stab Wounds. The place was
Just black metal stuff.
it is. It's like it's
Well, just
auto.
everything, just like
It's just yeah, it's very uncomfortable to listen to, but man, they
yeah.
sounded good. And 200 Stab Wounds got the most amazing reaction, and I was like,
Hmm.
this is not what I was expecting from this crowd,
Yeah.
considering the headliner that night was Deicide, but
Also, I mean,
wild.
I put on 200 stab wounds recently in the towards the beginning of March. They were part of the Cat Decapitation tour
Yeah,
over there. So it was my first time seeing them and working with them, and they're super nice guys. And they were fucking insane live. Those guys in Vomit Forth were also fucking great. Um, and then Signs of the Swarm were really cool, and obviously Cat Decapitation were fucking incredible as well.
Great
so are
tour.
you like the guy in your area when it comes to booking shows?
I wouldn't say like I'm the guy for like putting on like shows. I mean, obviously I've worked my ass off to get to where I'm at. Um, and the company that I work with now, I'm very grateful to be in the position that I'm in working with those guys. Um, but like I would say for like the majority of like the alternative stuff that comes to Newcastle, um, I would say like a handle I have like a foot in the door with regards to.
Okay, cool. I mean, every area needs one, right? They need the guy.
I mean,
Um,
there's a fair few promoters in Newcastle that deal with like the variety of like different genres. That are here, like we have like a variety of like hardcore promoters, um, and a few other like alternative promoters as well. And obviously, then you just get like national bookers that come through and just use some of the venues that we have here.
There's another speaking of big artists in UK, there's another wave going on over there, but there is just a shitload of good like hip hop rap producers over there too. Like just
Mm.
young kids, man. Like I watch a lot of YouTube videos of these kids and I'm like, dude, like talented fucking kids, man. And they're like 22, 23. I mean, they just make
Mm.
banging stuff, dude. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know what goes on over there, but you guys just the talent, man.
Tim needs
It's
to
crazy.
relocate.
All right.
I mean, like I know a lot of that comes from like the grime scenes in London, and like how that's like developed over the years, and a lot of people getting into it from like a young age, and then like finding an interest in the production side of things and going from there.
Would that also be considered? I hear this word all the time that I don't really know much of, and you already said grind, but it's like trap or not trap, like
Yeah,
drill.
like
No, drill.
drill. Okay, yeah. No, no, I would definitely say that as well. Would be sort of up there with like the heavy influences of like people getting into it and getting into like the production side too.
Is so drill is just like a certain. Is it just a genre of
It's
rap
just like a
or?
genre of like
Okay,
kind of like
okay.
hip hop, I guess.
Yeah, 'cause some of them beats are just crazy good,
Yeah,
man. So
it's
is that something that you guys dabble into, like with the drum and bass stuff? Is it just do you guys produce that stuff with just your instruments, or is there some kind of like or like electronic side to it? Like, are you guys using controllers to do that stuff, or just doing it instrument wise?
I am the worst person to ask for this in the
Oh,
band because I
okay,
know nothing with regards to like the actual like equipment as such. What I can tell you is that like two of our members, so Gimza, who is our DJ, and Sam, who's our bassist, like both are like the two sort of like masterminds behind that.
gotcha.
'Cause they'll just like sit down and just go through everything. Like Gimza has an insanely extensive knowledge of like electronic side of like that side of things. Um, and Sam also very much like helps with regards to that and helps like with the production side of things. But they're
Gotcha.
both
Okay.
incredibly talented and very much like put the band like where we need to be.
And I'm assuming you guys have like a huge new influence throughout the band. Is would that be true to say?
To an extent, I would say. So I wasn't really massively into new metal when I was younger. Like I liked some bands. I was very heavily into like Linkin Park when I was younger.
Okay.
Sam and Gimza, well, actually, pretty much everyone else in the band, was obviously like very heavily into like Slipknot and Korn and those sort of bands. Um, but I took a while to kind of like getting into it, and kind of like skipped most of that and ended up like I went from like listening to kind of like let's say like Linkin Park and a few different rock bands and things like that, then having like this big dubstep phase to then like I went into like a scene kid kind of phase, like Bring Me the Horizon, Memphis Mayfire, Asking Alexandria, all those sort of bands.
There you
Um,
go.
and then went through like an incredible I like this one in particular I hated, like when I think back to it, is like this incredibly like ignorant phase of just like if you couldn't as long as you couldn't understand the lyrics, the vocals, and like couldn't read the logo, then like that's what made it cool. Nothing to do with like the sort of the actual talent or like how the music sounded. It was just like as long as it just sounded like this, like as long as it was just like slam or deathcore, like that's all I cared about. And then eventually I got to a point where I was just like, you know what, it's actually fine for us to just like whatever I like. Like I don't understand why I was holding myself to a particular like level of just no, you have to like this and you have to like that, otherwise like it's not cool.
We all
I
go through
mean,
that ignorant
yeah,
phase. We all do.
exactly. Yeah, when you're younger, it's younger kids get pigeonholed into stuff like that where they're like, I gotta know what this is. I gotta be into this. But then you get 40 or 45 like Jay, and you're just like, fuck
Come
this.
on, man.
I'm listening like Jay likes a group or a artist that I had no clue he was really into, and I was like, wow, that's very
Was
surprising.
it
But I didn't
Justin
care.
Justin Timberlake?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
had no
James.
clue you were into them like that.
Tim's brain almost rebooted when I said, "Yo, his new album is good," and Tim was looking at me, and you could tell he had no idea that I was serious. He's like, "Are you trying to be funny?" I said, "No, it's actually good. I really like it." So, yeah, I think you're right. I think Tim's right. That comes with age, where you start realizing that you know what, I like what I like, and if you don't like it, well, eat a dick. But I'm not going to judge anybody. But
Yeah.
it's my thing. James, so my geography is a bit rusty, but you
Gotcha.
said Newcastle, right? So that's northeastern
Yeah, it's
England,
northeast, so it's
right?
like
So
one of
south of Scotland, but pretty far up there, right?
yeah, it's like the last town, I guess, on this side before you get to Scotland. Like on this side, you've got
Okay.
Newcastle before you get there, and then the other side, you've got Carlisle before you get to Scotland.
Okay. Okay.
I was gonna
Yeah.
ask the same exact thing, Jay.
Yeah. So my old colleague at work, she was from Bristol, and we have another a lot of the guys from the UK that work for my company. And it's funny, James, my company, it's based out of Portland, Oregon, the company I work for. And I always make fun of the guys from the UK where I go, you left a country where it rains all the time and you moved to the one place in the United States where it rains all the time. Like, I don't
They
like
just
what.
wanted to be closer to home. They didn't
Yeah,
actually.
I was like, yo, what was that logic there? But they did say like flying home is brutal. Like it's like 18 hours and multiple
Yeah.
flights. But
No, it's
yeah,
not. Oregon's like on the west side.
way
Yeah.
yeah, where it's north of California. So it's
Okay. Yeah.
Oregon, Portland,
That's
and
far away.
Seattle. If you were touring and you were doing the loop,
Mhm.
those would be right before you went over the border into Vancouver, Canada. That's
Right.
like where it ends.
Oh fucking hell, Jesus! So
And,
that's far.
and then you'd have to go straight across in the snow through like all the weird places in Canada, which are kind of
All of the
exciting.
weirdest places in Canada.
Yeah, don't waste your time.
No, there's like one venue every like what we had what's his name, Cole from Trench on, and he said like they will literally drive like a day and a half to play a show because they got to cross this giant swath of whatever. So
Barren wasteland.
literally it looks like ice pirates. So let me ask you this, James, what are you listening to lately?
I'm listening to it. Hang on, let me pull this up. I'll tell you. So I can never tell you off the top of my head.
Yep. I could tell you right away what I'm listening to as soon as you ask me. Ah, fuck.
Yeah,
no,
right.
It's exactly that. A lot of One Step Closer at the minute. I think they're fucking incredible, and their new stuff is really, really, really cool. Rough Justice, who are a UK-based band, they're part of like Malevolence's kind of circle.
Okay.
Great band. A lot of Can't Swim at the minute. Another UK-based band called Devil's Grip. They're Newcastle-based. Good friends of mine, and their two releases they've got out currently are sick. Alkaline Trio's new album has been
Great
on repeat
record.
recently. Domain from Florida, who are like sort of old school. Actually, I feel like old school metalcore is the wrong description, but they're really sick.
Is that a Days band?
Yes, yeah, it's a Days band.
Yeah, there you go.
And then Throne from the EU as well, who are also
Yo,
fuck yeah.
that new single is, I mean, the last four songs,
so good, so
unbelievable.
good.
Yeah, that production is thick.
Tim, I'm telling you, they're opening the tour with Body Snatcher and Spite, and I think even if I go by myself, I'm gonna go because I really want to see them. I think it's them.
I'd highly recommend seeing them live. So we played with them last year at Make a Scene. I was already a fan before playing with them. I was just like, I'm so fucking gassed to watch this. And they're incredible live.
It's just I can't properly describe. I have another buddy who's into the same type of music, and I try to explain it. I'm like, look, dude, I can't explain it. Just go fucking listen to it. Like, I'm like, just trust me. But yeah, it's them and Mouth for War opening that tour, and I'm like, I think I gotta go. My question though is Buster touring with them? Because Humanity's Last Breath is also in the States. They're doing that. What is it, Tim? Is it Cattle?
Yeah.
Is it the Cattle to Cap leg that they're doing? Yeah.
Yep.
Carnage tour, Chaos and Carnage.
Yes,
tour.
that's it. That's it.
Carn Effects, Cult Decapitation, Humanity's Last Breath, and I can't remember who else is on it. I only know a fair bit about this because I spoke quite a bit to Aaron, who is Cult Decapitation's TM. He's a really, really sweet guy, and he was just telling me about that tour.
Yeah, it is. It's the Chaos and Carnage, but they're not coming through here, right? Tim, they're going to Reverb, I think.
Reverb, Reading.
Yeah. Yeah. We James, Tim and I we live outside the Philadelphia area. And for whatever reason, not for whatever reason, Philadelphia definitely has a reputation as a hardcore city more than anything else. Which is great for hardcore shows. But we lose out on a shit ton of metal tours who never come through. So for example, I love Signs of the Swarm.
Yeah.
They have put out that album out, and even with Absolver, they have never played Philly proper. They've always come around. They play Jersey, they'll play, Reverb. They never come through Philly. Origin never comes through Philly. And it's always like, man, like shit. Like I know we're a big hardcore city, and that's our draw. This is hardcore every year and all that. We have amazing, Philadelphia hardcore promoters. They put on some shows, but we're lucky, but we're unlucky in the sense of when it comes to that metal stuff, like we got to travel.
I mean, that's just like the existence of Newcastle in general. Like the amount of tours that just completely miss out. Like they'll do Manchester and Glasgow, and just drive straight past.
Go right
Or
past.
Manchester, yeah. Or they'll do like Leeds and Glasgow, and again just like drive straight past. I guess that's like one of the things that I've always tried my best to like nail with like certain booking agents, where I've just been like, look, like just give us a chance, and you'll see that we can like sell tickets here, and like it's worked to an extent. Like I've been able to bring an extensive amount of like bigger bands to Newcastle who may not have typically like, ticked here off. Like I've done Napalm Death this year, and I did them the year before, and that was great. That Cat Decapitation tour, I was just like, yeah, like this would be really really good. And both of those shows sold out. He also got this year. Oh, here's it.
The Napalm Death guys, they're Birmingham, James.
Yeah.
So how far is that? If I were to drive that, how far is that of a drive?
Birmingham from here is. Let me tell you.
I'm always curious.
It's like 3.5 hours away.
Oh, it's not bad at all.
No, it's like Tim. It's like us going to Baltimore.
I was about to say it's
Yeah.
like not far for you guys at all. You said
Yeah.
the company you work for is based in Bristol, didn't you?
No, they're based out of Portland. But I had an old coworker. One guy was from Bristol. Another the woman, where was she from? Somewhere on the sea. Fatboy Slim is from there. Brighton.
Oh, okay, but that's
Right.
far from here.
Yeah,
Bristol's 5 hours away. And Brighton is. Let me tell you.
yeah. But I mean, we again, Tim. This goes back to the geography thing, right? Like where we are, James, within. So we can be from Philly to New York City in 2 hours. We can be from Philly to Baltimore in 3, DC in 3.5. Boston is 4. Heading west, Pittsburgh is what, Tim? 5, 5.5.
Yeah, about 4.5. Yeah.
So we take for granted, especially where we are. We're in a very dense part of the East Coast where we can basically get anywhere within a good 6 hours. Where like, if you're in the West Coast, like if you're in Portland or Seattle, 6 hours, you're barely hitting the northern parts of California.
Yeah. Well, 6 hours for us is pretty much just the bottom of the country. Like that's fine for us.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, cool, we're here.
Yeah, Tim and I haven't even left our own time zone.
Yeah, right.
Shit, we're still in the same fucking spot.
Yeah, right. Jesus, why is it the clock? So let me ask you this, James. You mentioned a bunch of bands that are local to you, bands over in the UK. What are some bands that our American listeners should be looking into? What are some of the bands that you think, for those of us stateside, we should be paying attention, because these are bands that have a chance of getting big. They've got some talent behind their music.
Okay, so like as I said earlier on, like Devil's Grip are fucking great. Newcastle-based hardcore band, and both of the releases they put out are great. Head Cage or some friends of ours, they're also really cool. They're similar to like Boston Manor.
Head Cage is. Oh, I'm thinking of Head Cave. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Head Cave is that's from the vocalist of My Ticket Home, isn't it?
Yeah, My Ticket Home. Yep.
I love that band. I love like the Head Cave stuff that the guy did as well.
Yeah, that shit's wild.
Who else from the UK would I say that? And Pulse. I did a feature on one of theirs not recently. I've done a feature on one of their tracks before. But we've known Tom and the other guys in that band for ages. And they're a very cool band.
Is this Devil's Grip called Destined to Win?
Yeah, that's the release.
I got that. Got in queue.
That's the most recent one.
Okay.
As I said, Pulse, the Human Veil, they're friends of ours from Manchester. Very, very cool band again. Burner from London, who are like fucking intensely heavy, but also really fucking sick. Going off Manchester hardcore bands, they're really sick.
You said Burner?
Burner, yeah.
That's because I like that name. It all returns to nothing.
Yeah. Or listen to Pillar. Actually, no, if you can listen to the Burner, listen to Pillar of Shame.
Pillar of Shame.
It's just one of those songs which is just like intense the entire way through, but it's great. It's like similar to like Full of Hell, but with like sort of like hardcore influence.
Sold.
Happy positive stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. I hear Full Hell, I click right away.
Yeah, they're fucking. I put them on in Newcastle as well before. They're fucking insane good live.
Unbelievable.
New
They
record Friday.
brought their other bands, or I say like the other bands because like part of them, like half of them were in it, and the Jarhead Fertilizer.
Yep.
They were fucking great as well. Who else from the UK? Who have I not mentioned? Because I guarantee I'm gonna get fucking if people hear this, they're gonna just be like,
Yeah, James, how did you not mention my
yeah,
band? And you're like, yo.
I'm so sorry, bro. I'm so sorry.
All I know is Burner. I fucking love that name.
Yeah, isn't it?
I want so while you're thinking of bands, I want to ask you this too. This is a question we don't usually ask because it's I don't want to say, oh, what's this song about, but I gotta ask the meaning behind It Happened Near Your Home. Is there like a meaning to that, or what's that song about?
So It Happened Near Your Home is primarily based off um sort of I guess kind of just going out and getting on it, like um and kind of having like a really bad trip. So like the ending lyrics where it's like from the close to the light is all about kind of just really being in that moment of just like you've had like maybe like one too many, and you're
Okay.
just like nothing's really making sense by any means,
Gotcha. Okay.
by that point. It's pretty much just based around that. But the following two tracks kind of link into that
All right.
in a sense.
Okay.
And we're doing the best to make the videos link together as well.
Oh shit. Okay, that's cool.
So you'll see with like the following two kind of like how they all lock together, but it's kind of like the progression of a night out in a sense.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just didn't know if there was like a serious meaning to it. It just sounded like one of them titles where it actually like it was like a
Oh
something that
god,
actually
no,
happened.
yeah,
Okay.
no. It's not one of those ones.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because we don't usually say like what's the meaning behind the record, because that shit's
Yeah,
corny as hell.
I mean every interviewer. I mean, as someone, I can't imagine for you, James, being in a band and doing a PR cycle where you have 30-minute interviews for 6 hours, and everybody's asking, so where does the band name come from? Where did the album title come from? What are the songs like? I would probably go insane and start giving different answers to everybody.
Oh, I'll purposely start doing that. I'll just start throwing people off. But because I never actually know what it's about, I'm just gonna fucking lie the entire time. Just like, oh, it's
Yeah, right.
What are you gonna know?
And then you got 4 different headlines on Lamb Goat, and it's like, wait a minute.
That's great. Actually, that's a great PR move right there, right? Yeah.
I love throwing people off. Why would I want people to know what my songs are about? Jesus.
Oh, so yeah, so maybe you're lying
Fuck
to
you
us right
guys for
now.
pointing your nose at this. You know what? I'm gonna make you regret asking this question.
Yeah, so I know there's a label called Rude Records that was putting out some really good records recently. Is that a UK
Oh yeah,
based label?
that's the record label that Graph and Nature on.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's right. That's right.
who else is on it? Oh, I know.
Well, I know Blood Youth was
Modern,
on there.
Modern Era are on there as well,
Oh,
who are really
okay.
cool.
Is that are they a UK based label?
I believe so.
Okay. I
Could be
thought
wrong, but
I
I'm pretty sure
just
they are.
yeah, it kind of made sense when I'd seen all the bands they were putting out. It's like, yeah, it's probably a UK based label.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they are.
All right. Yeah, they I looked at their artists on one day and I was just like, oh, so this is like a complete mix of just different genres. So I was totally like taken off by that. I was like, wait a minute. It's not
Yeah,
just
they're not very genre focused to my
yeah,
knowledge.
yeah, and I liked it because I was like, wow, there's so many different bands on here, man.
Hmm.
I like when labels do that.
No, I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
That's what Hopeless tried to do some years ago, didn't they? Like they were just primarily pop punk based, but then they started branching out and getting a few different heavier bands involved.
Yeah, kind of like Pure Noise in a
Yeah.
sense.
That was going to be my American analog,
Yep.
right? I mean, there's something to be said for the labels that have a sound and they go for that, but also the labels that we're kind of just looking for stuff that's fun and catches our ear, and let's do it.
No, 100%. Like you wouldn't really get like what's called like Nuclear Blast putting out like pop punk records, would you?
No.
I mean, they pretty much just do like death metal, don't they? Nuclear Blast.
Yeah. They have a them Relapse, Metal Blade, right? They have a niche that they pretty much stick around. And funnily enough, there's always those one or two bands that end up on those labels where you're like, how is this gonna work?
Yeah.
Like a perfect example, I'll give you a Relapse example. Candy just put out a new single. I think they are beautifully abrasive hardcore.
Love that band.
Oh, unbelievable. But they're on Relapse, which I actually think is a bit of a weird fit for them. And I don't know if they get the push that they could from a more hardcore centric label, but yeah, everything they do is unbelievable. It's really unbelievable.
No, they're a really, really cool band. I've been into them for some time now. I've never managed to catch them anytime they came over there.
It's I'm always amazed, James, going the other way. We started off talking about the cost of touring coming from the UK to here. I'm always amazed at the American bands that have a go when they just like, oh well, we're doing Europe, and they just get up and go, and you're like, how does that work?
The ones that do it like multiple times a year as well. I'm just like, how the fuck do you have that sort of money?
I mean, I get the whole. So the European festival circuit is way more developed than what we have, right? Like we don't have that. We're just now in the Americas with stuff like Rocklahoma, Rock on the Range, Aftershock. We're starting to get that, but I know a ton of hardcore bands that basically fly into London and they say we're going to do the whole summer in Europe. We're going to do every single festival in every single country. Then they fly home at the end of the summer, and that's great. But I don't like even with like your smaller mid-market, I guess, not to insult them, but smaller hardcore bands and metal bands that fly over. I always wonder, like, are you selling like a kidney to get airfare? Like, how's that working?
I I literally have no idea how they like say like the like I said, you're absolutely right. The certain bands do it. I'm just like, how are you able to do this? Like, shoot, like, because I know like going off what for okay, so I look at it from like a promoter perspective of like what this band are currently sort of like going for in terms of like tickets and stuff like that, and I'm just like, okay, you're only getting like this amount per day. How are you affording to do like an entire like stretch of both like the
Right.
UK and Europe on those sort of fees? Like, don't get me wrong, I know European fees are typically a fair bit higher than what UK fees are, because a lot more people go to shows over there. But even then, like, I don't know if it's enough. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I don't know if it's enough to justify being able to do like the extensive
Yeah.
touring that certain bands do.
I mean, I guess if you're treating it like a vacation, like, hey, I don't want to make any money. We're just coming over. We're gonna hang out, play a bunch of
Have a good
shows, and
time.
head back. Like,
Yeah.
maybe that works. Maybe that works.
Yeah.
Tim, I'm looking at my quick list of questions, and I am legit out. Do you have any other questions?
No.
Awesome. So James, as we're gonna let you go. We really we appreciate you coming on. Time difference and all. We really appreciate it.
No, I really appreciate you guys having me. Seriously.
We were legit stoked. It was one of those, hey, let's get him on.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, James. So on the way out, if listeners want to find more about the band, they want to come track you down. Maybe somebody's coming over to the UK on one of these hardcore tours, and they want to look into meeting up with you, maybe do some booking in Newcastle. Where do they find you?
So the best way to find us is literally just our Instagram. If you just hit up Starved Collective, um, like as I said, we're very responsive to messages. So if anything comes through that, we'll typically reply within like literally like a day's time at the absolute most.
Awesome. Well,
definitely don't use the Facebook page. We won't see the messages at all. Like we've done it once before where we just left it for an elongated period of time. And I think like check that was just like, oh, so some people are actually trying to contact us and we've just not seen a single thing.
Facebook is so notoriously unreliable now. It's all
Massively.
just ad spam and shit that when Tim and I do our outreach, it literally is all through Instagram because that
Yeah.
just seems to be the one that most people are looking at.
Yeah,
So
Instagram and TikTok at the minute are the best ways to get any form of interaction as a like as people like yourselves on like any form of like way of trying to grow yourself.
Absolutely.
perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
and before we go, you said you're doing Harvey's podcast. I guess for you it'd be tonight.
Yeah, so like at 7, I think we said 7 o'clock.
What is he do like a music centric podcast or what does he do?
It's literally just one where we're just gonna get on and just chat some shit.
Oh, okay.
I've known Harvey. Well, with Graphing Nature, I've known them pretty much since they first started. So I technically booked actually not technically, I booked Graphic Nature's first ever show.
Oh shit. Okay.
Oh shit, that's wild.
So it was with the band called Lock and Key, who are on my festival in a few weeks. And it was part of Lock and Key's farewell tour. And
Nice.
it just kind of started from there. We got chatting, and then we've done multiple things together since. Like we've played a lot of shows together. Harvey features on that track. We've done a remix of one of their tunes as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Tell them we said hello.
Yeah,
Tell them he's
send 'em
welcome
regards.
whenever, and-
Yeah.
I'll let them know.
Awesome.
They have a new record coming out. I think what, in June.
Yeah, already
Okay.
they have a new record coming out. It's insane. Like the what's it called? Like the level of like sort of work that they put out as a band is insane. Like I've never really seen a band like work as hard as what the guys in Graphic Nature do.
Yeah, I can't wait for that, man.
Yeah, that's gonna be
I
some
mean,
good
the
stuff.
first single off it was great.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was great.
yeah, yeah. That last album that they did snuck into my top 10 of the year because it was one of those bands that I kept going back to that album.
Yeah.
And it was one of those, I don't know what I want to listen to. I'll just put on Graphic Nature again. And I enjoyed it every time through.
Mhm.
If you put a gun to my head and said explicitly explain why you kept going back to that album, I would tell you, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know that whenever I couldn't think of what to listen to, I would put that on and I would go, fuck, I forgot how great this album is.
I had
So-
that with Justice for the Damned's Pain is Power when that came out.
Yeah.
Fucking is so. I mean, like it's great for the gym, for one, but like it just as an album from start to finish is so fucking good. It's one of my favorites of. I want to say like now one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah, they're road dogs too. They are always on the road. Always. Which I think nowadays you have to do. Awesome. So check out James's band, Starve Collective, New Breed Podcast at gmail.com for all your likes, comments, complaints, concerns. 267-297-4627. If you want to leave a voicemail, we'll play it on the show. New Breed _ podcast on both Twitter and Instagram. We have a Facebook group that is kind of lively. You can find us bouncing around r/newmetal. So once again, we want to thank James for coming on.
Thank you
Check out
guys
his
so
band.
much for having me on. I really appreciate it, guys.
And
Anytime, man.
yeah, absolutely. So until next episode, cheers.
Later.
Bye.